Allie, and if we can go ahead and put a track on this storm with a speed to the northeast at 50 miles per hour, kind of give you a heads up as to where this is moving and kind of drag it out for us as it moves north and eastward. So you can see moving toward Smith Station. This is moving really quickly. So make sure that speed is set for 50. Okay, it's 50. It just seems like it's moving so quick. 5:08 Central Time for Smith Station, 5:15 Central Time for Phoenix City. Of course, Phoenix City on Eastern Time, though, and then maybe crossing the river sometime around 6:15. So we got to continue to watch this storm. It is producing more lightning as it moves that way. So again, kind of an idea of where this storm may be tracking toward. If you live in any of these communities, you need to get to the lowest level of your home right now and make sure you put as many walls between you and the outside. So Waukeachie High School right around 4:53 Central Time, 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes to get into your safe place. Bleecker, about 3 minutes till, and somewhere around Piney Grove Church, perhaps around 6:06 Eastern Time. So this is going to be crossing the river probably actually right at the top of the hour here. So we're going to be watching that carefully. The lightning has ramped up. It's signs that the storm itself is intense, not as organized up toward LaGrange, but there is still some rain. Same for Chambers County. Technically, those two counties are out of the tornado watch, which includes the rest of our area, though. Tornado warning, though, only for the southern half of Lee County. And then you can see this line that also extends into Russell County, northwestern Russell County. Pretty strong extent of that storm as well. And so that will continue to move toward the north and east. So Columbus, we got to watch this. Parts of Harris, Muskogee County, too. If this holds together, you would be kind of under the gun next during the 6 o'clock hour. But for now, our immediate concern is Lee County. So, Allie, if we could zoom in out ahead of the storm and kind of give a heads up to some of the streets and communities that are affected. The Moffitt's Mill area, Griffin Mill, anywhere near Antioch Church. And if you could take that warning off too, maybe, so we could just get a clearer depiction. Thank you. Griffin Mill, Pleasant Hill Church. Here's 280, the Bleecker community. I want you in your safe room now. There's Waukeachie High School. So in the next 5 to 6 minutes, this storm is going to be right on top of you. And again, it could be producing a tornado. Opelika, you're not dealing with the tornadic side of the storm, but it's certainly probably windy, at least with 20-mile-per-hour winds and some heavy rain and lightning. But you go down here toward the Creek Stand Church area, that's where we have this storm. And let's see what velocity looks like with this particular storm. We haven't really checked that out lately. Some broad rotation in there, and basically where we see the reds and the greens coming together, that's where we have some low-level rotation or circulation aloft, according to the radar. So this isn't necessarily a tornado on the ground. It could be, but there's every indication that we need to treat this like it's a tornado on the ground right in here. So this part of southern Lee County, well to the southeast of Auburn, now right over the Beauregard area, and there's Beauregard just to the south of you between Beauregard and Marvin. There's Highway 80, so it's just to the north of the Highway 80 corridor, and we've just got a new scan in here, and we can see still some loose rotation in that area. So if you're in Griffin Mill, Bleecker, Moffitt's Mill, up toward the Smith Station area, you need to make sure that you are in your safe place now. Even though the storm isn't there yet, it's going to come through very quickly as this is moving to the northeast at 50 miles per hour. So it is racing toward the east. And you have to realize that the radar scan is a couple minutes old. So by the time we get the new scan in, realistically, the storm is a little bit farther to the east and northeast. So are you seeing anything else over there, Allie Ann, from the National Weather Service, or anything worth pointing out?
No updates from National Weather Service from this particular storm right now. Atlanta just did probably warn us to be ready for Harris and Muskogee County if this thing does stay on the ground.
Okay.
So that's about the only thing coming through. There's been no updates though on the rotation has started to broaden. So they're going to keep running some scans on this. So it has weakened significantly from whenever it first did show up, but again, it could get energy again and come through on our side.
Absolutely. These storms are kind of pulsing up and flaring up every now and again. This was kind of a similar setup, although this is along a line of storms, but we had an isolated severe storm that really produced a tornado in southeastern Barber County earlier, then moved up into Quitman and Clay County. So if you were watching a few hours ago, we broke in for that. But where you see this little appendage here, that's the concern. Basically, we have an inflow, and if you could just kind of circle that area, Allie-Ann, just to show viewers what we're talking about, where we have winds kind of rotating in the storm, that's where you want to seek shelter. It's not necessarily a textbook signature right now. It's broadening out, and we saw that from one scan to the other over the last few minutes. But we will say that anytime you have this kind of like hook, this notch, that indicates that we have winds kind of coming in, and there's certainly healthy amount of winds feeding and fueling these storms that are leading to the instability that we have in the atmosphere. And again, lightning, heavy rain, thunder, that's a given. Gusty winds for everyone right on the edge of this line, but the area of immediate concern is here in southern Lee County. That's where we have the tornado warning. That goes until 5:30 Central Time, so we're going to be with this through the duration, even though it's probably going to be well out of Lee County by the time we get into 5:30 Central. Keep in mind it's 5:49 Eastern Time right now. Okay, so let's see the latest and maybe put some more cities on here and see what is out ahead of this, so we can give folks a heads up and really zoom in to the area, especially in Lee County there, the Bleecker community, the Bethelport Church area over to Moffitt's Mill. And even if you can, let's zoom in some more and get some of those street level vantage points, so you can see Lee Road 198, 179. If you're in the Salem area, you need to make sure that you're keeping an eye on this. So Shotwell as well. And this is all along 280. So Mott's, Bleecker, Shotwell, you should be in the lowest level of your home, away from windows as we speak, because of this impending storm that's knocking on our doorstep as it moves toward the east and northeast. It's all along a squall line, and that's producing some heavy rain and thunderstorms. This really hasn't been a tornadic producing squall line until, just recently it showed some signs of rotation as it was over Macon County, and now the storm is in Lee County. So Salem Church, there you go.
So National Weather Service did continue that tornado warning for Lee County, but it is it has the possibility of producing. It's just a severe thunderstorm.
Not confirmed.
Yes, so
okay.
they're leaving it there at the moment.
Okay.
It's moving northeast at 45 miles per hour right now.
Okay.
But they still are, talking about how the rotation has broadened, but it still has that possibility of spinning up right now.
At any time. So we got to treat that as a tornado warning. Let's put that polygon back on the map so we can see for visual purposes. Again, this doesn't include Harris or Muskogee counties yet, but you got to draw the line and connect the dots and see that, well, you very much will be under the gun if this holds together. And it might not, it might. Storms don't necessarily stop at state lines, rivers, political boundaries, anything like that. But we are going to be noticing that this storm right here still looks kind of mean and is certainly warrants that tornado warning that was issued by the National Weather Service in Birmingham. So right now, Crawford and just to the north, really a view over the Beauregard area and areas just to the east of Beauregard and Society Hill, where we're seeing some of the roughest weather at this point. So as we look at let's put on the loop over the last 30 minutes or so and just see how quickly this has moved out of Macon County, and then it's moved now into Lee County. Now, there's still some pretty intense storms down here in western Russell County, probably producing some very gusty winds, but not as tornadic. The weak, broad rotation, I should say, is really showing up here in Lee County. So it's south of Opelika, well southeast of Auburn, but it's basically right to the east of Beauregard and Marvin now. Smith Station, you should be in your safe place right now, lowest level of your home and away from windows. Make sure that you are treating this seriously, even though we don't have a confirmed tornado. It's dark, it's raining heavily, and we just have to treat this as the possibility that could produce or was producing a tornado. And it still may as it continues to move to the east. You said 55 miles per hour now, or 45?
45.
45 miles per hour. So it's moving very quickly, I will say that. And before we know it, as we head toward, say, 5 past the hour, it's probably going to be very near the Chattahoochee River. So you have about 10 minutes or so if you're in Smith Station to be preparing. Bleecker, you should be in your safe room right now because this storm is on top of you and it continues to move in. Also, if you're in Mott's, you should be seeking a safe shelter and making sure that you are grabbing the family, making sure you're awake. So let's say this continues to move to the northeast. At this trajectory, this particular point of the storm would likely miss Muskogee County as far as, or at least most of it, if it stays on this track. Now, you know, storms do tend to wobble a little bit, but if it continues on this trajectory, it would move into southern parts of Harris County as we head toward, they say, the first 15 minutes of the 6 o'clock hour. So that's how quickly the storm is moving. How's velocity looking, Allieann? Are we seeing any signs of rotation?
Still, no.
Not any clear signatures there. It's very messy, but we certainly have, at the very least, some strong winds, heavy rain moving through. And let's see if we can back that up and put a loop on that velocity just to see.
Let me slow it down for you.
Okay, so this was as the storm was moving out of Macon County, and see how those brighter oranges right in there did produce some of that. That's what really prompted the tornado warning right there, because that was like a little mesocyclone that was moving through the southern part of Lee County near Marvin and Beauregard and Society Hill. That was at 5:40. That's what prompted 5:40 Eastern time, I should say. That's what prompted the tornado warning, and it's now moving to the northeast toward Griffin Mill. And you can see it's a lot sloppier. The signature is a lot less defined, but if I had to say, the signature would be somewhere now near the Moffitt's Mill area here, very close to Bleecker. So between Bleecker and Moffitt's Mill, Bethelport Church, you should be in your safe room now. Cornerstone Church, Smith Station, heads up to you. Lee Road 240. This right over, I can't see, Prince Crossroads there. That's where we have some broad rotation, and it's enough to keep this tornado warning going as we continue to approach the 5 o'clock Central Time hour and 6 o'clock Eastern Time frame. So Smith Station, we're looking at the winds, by the way, on the radar. It's the rain is certainly very heavy coming in from the west with this particular storm, but Smith Station, you need to take shelter if you haven't already. Monterey Heights, Lee Road 248, Glenwood School, even over toward Somerville Road as you approach Phoenix City, or the north side of Phoenix City, you'll want to certainly take shelter there. So this is in Lee County, and this is where we have to certainly take shelter over the next little bit. Even if you're up towards Salem, I would go ahead and take shelter. So this is Harris County, this is Lee County, and let's go back to the traditional radar mode. And well, we actually got a new scan there.
Oh, there you go, Tyler.
There you go.
But I was saying right before we got that radar scan, and the National Weather Service had all been but confirming everything you were saying. The rotation is completely gone based off the radar, but the overall structure could quickly spin up right again. So they're going to just continue the warning instead of canceling it. But we just saw with that updated view, you still have that rotation right there.
Yeah, and let's just query those brighter spots there. Even though the wind speeds are going to look kind of strange and maybe low, I just want to point the fact that we have 23 mile per hour gate-to-gate shear. So that's basically a wind differential. So winds going this way are, say, 23 miles per hour different than the winds going this way. And that's what we call wind shear in the atmosphere. And it may be 4,000 or 5,000 feet off the ground, but it could also extend to the ground at any time. So there could be a tornado that extends from this storm at any time as it moves upstream toward the Bleecker community. Again, you need to be in your safe place. Smith Station, you still got a few minutes, But if you are on the west side of Smith Station, this is coming very close to you now. Monterey Heights, Smith Station, Lee Road 430, Mott's, Lee Road 326. New scan coming in, and look how quickly this has moved. Right over the Moffitt's Mill area, maybe just to the north. This is Lee Road 240. It's just to the north of 240. Again, this isn't a real pretty signature as far as giving us confirmation that there's a tornado on the ground or anything like that. We like to hear that, but we have to treat this because every once in a while it does pulse up and it looks pretty strong, and we have to treat this as the fact that a tornado may be on the ground or could be on the ground at any time or was on the ground just a few minutes ago. This is going to be moving to the east and northeast about 45 miles per hour. So again, Smith Station, heads up to you all. The Bleecker community, the storm is getting almost to its closest approach to you. Let's see what the regular radar mode looks like. Reflectivity and certainly heavy rain. This isn't going to be one of those storms that you're going to see the tornado. If there is a tornado, it's rain wrapped most likely, or it's quickly going to be overcome by rain. I'm not seeing, as much of an appendage necessarily on this mode, but certainly kind of an odd shaped structure of a storm, not just a squall line. This part of the storm is has a little bit of a
bend to it.
Yeah, a bend to it. And so you see that basically moving toward the east right there. So because of this kind of like little bend to it that Allie-Ann was talking about near the south of Powell Edge, west of Smith Station, but this is going to be on Smith Station really soon in the next minute or so. So you absolutely need to be in your safe place. If you are in eastern Lee County at the moment, this is going to stay mainly north of Highway 80 in the Ladonia community and north of Phoenix City most likely. But if you're in Smith Station, Monterey Heights, even back over toward Green Island Hills, I would kind of keep an eye on this. That's in northwestern Muskogee County, but for the most part, that rotation is likely going to go more into southwestern Harris County if it does, in fact, the warning get extended and if it does still show those signs of rotation. But heavy rain, lightning, gusty winds are a given. But the rotation, while it may appear pretty broad and not well defined on radar, it's still enough for the National Weather Service to continue this warning. Let's see the broad picture as far as the squall line's concerned and show folks, even if you're saying, I'm not in Lee County, but it's pouring like crazy. We're seeing that rain in Troup County. You're done with the severe weather threat. Same for Chambers County. So the good news is once this line comes through, you're done with the severe weather threat, even though you may not be done with the rain today. Auburn's done. Now Beauregard and Marvin's done. Up toward Lafayette, you're done with the severe weather threat. But everybody else in our area under a tornado watch aside from Troup and Chambers County. So let's see the tornado watch now, Allie-Ann, and that goes into effect till 9 o'clock Eastern time, again, for areas out ahead of this line. So what that's telling us is that even though basically this line is probably going to be through many of these communities before 9 o'clock Eastern time, it tells us that anywhere in our area has that potential to see maybe another brief tornado spinning up along that line of storms. And again, a lot of lightning too with that. So let's hone back in. Now it's the top of the hour, 6:01 Eastern time, 5:01 Central time. Thanks for joining us. I'm meteorologist Tyler Allender alongside Allie-Ann McCord, and we're tracking a tornado warning for Lee County. That is right on top of Smith Station. It's kind of hooking back up again a little bit, maybe.
It looks like it.
And again,
there's nothing from the National Weather Service, hasn't put out any updates yet.
Okay.
But
yeah, it looks pretty mean nonetheless.
Yeah.
With at least some gusty winds, but right in here, right on top of Smith Station, where we have this little hook, this little appendage that tells us there's inflow from the storm. The storm structure is pretty good. There's good breathing of the atmosphere around the storm, and so we got winds coming in the storm. We got winds coming away from the storm as well. Let's check the latest velocity scan. And we'll also, again, want to give the importance of seeking shelter if you're in Smith Station. Doesn't look...
It's very broad.
Yeah, very broad rotation here over Smith Station. I mean, it's really hard to pinpoint, maybe right in there on the west side, but it's probably now over 280 by now because it's moving that quick. But there's nothing that's really screaming tornado on the ground, but we have to
treat it like there is.
Treat it like there is, absolutely, because this signature that's showing up on reflectivity, it does look very like a mesocyclone kind of feature in the atmosphere, and so
there's like definitely rotation, but it's not enough.
Right, and it's not necessarily at the ground, but it could at any point. So Smith Station, you should be on the lookout for this. Glenwood School, you're under the gun as well. Over toward the Harris County line, you have to be looking for the possibility of being impacted by this. So in fact, let's go ahead and go over into the Piney Grove area of Harris County and give folks a heads up, or at least draw a line or something.
I'll put a track on it.
Yeah, so we can
exactly where it heads out. So sorry, I'm going to zoom out some, get a better there.
Yeah, moving to the northeast, so it could come very close to Mountain Hill School and Harris County around 6:15. No formal tornado warning for you. You know, based on what I'm seeing, what they might do is issue a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag and mention that possibility. But I am still seeing signs of a very strong to severe storm moving through here. If you're near the Goat Rock area, you have just a few minutes to kind of lay low. Basically, we're going to be watching the storm as it crosses the river. No, it may not still carry that formal tornado warning, but it is certainly still pretty strong. Mount Olive Church, Macedonia Church as well, 6:19 Eastern Time. So again, this storm that we're watching, the storm in question, otting out of Lee County, eastern Lee County. It's right on top of Smith Station right now. So Society Hill, you're in the clear. Back toward Shotwell and Salem and back toward the west, Beauregard, you're in the clear. But the storm that we're watching is right in here, broad rotation, very close to the power plant there in Harris County. And as it moves toward the north and east, we got to give a heads up for the Harris-Muskogee County line, far northwestern Muskogee County and southern Harris. So is Atlanta, Peachtree City saying anything by chance?
Nope, not at all.
Okay.
You know.
Okay, so no indication of them.
They haven't said anything about it since probably 20 minutes ago. So. Okay. Okay, let's go back to normal reflectivity and see what this looks like. It's definitely got some little hooks in it or little appendages, but it's you know, doesn't have that low-level rotation like we saw earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
So very heavy rain. I'm seeing a lot of reports of lightning even in the Midland area. It's loud. Columbus, it's loud. You can hear the storm coming, but we have that storm that's certainly capable still of producing a tornado. Technically, the warning goes until 5:30 Central Time, but this storm is going to be well out of Lee County by that point. It is right on the eastern Lee County line here. This is 280. It's right on top of that busy corridor as you go basically past Phoenix City up towards Smith Station, the Mott's community. Torrential rain. There is quite a bit of lightning with this and some gusty winds too. So that's why we are keeping an eye on this storm, and as it moves to the east and northeast at about 45 miles per hour, we're going to be keeping a close eye on this, because even though there's technically two different National Weather Service offices, we have to keep in mind we don't issue the warnings. The National Weather Service does, and Lee County is under Birmingham's jurisdiction, and Harris and Muskogee County are under Peachtree City or Atlanta's jurisdiction. So two different offices there that have control of the warning. So, you know, it's, you know, while it can get kind of political at times, I guess you could say, it doesn't, storms don't just stop right at the state line or right along the river. Yes, they may weaken, and this storm certainly is showing signs of weakening and kind of gusting out a little bit. In other words, it's weakening, it's not showing that rotation as much, but you know, it can easily, farther upstream, it can strengthen again. So that's why we have to overall keep an eye on this. Mountain Hill, some really heavy rain. You could see that all for the eastern half of Lee County. We are getting slammed with the heavy rain, and even going into North Phoenix City. We're seeing some heavier downpours, but the worst is staying off to your north. You can see a few of those lightning strikes
Peachtree
as well.
Just came in. They said that this little area right here, it's doesn't appear to be severe at the moment, but they're going to issue something for the winds right now, because we're seeing wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour within that little cell.
Oh, like a severe weather statement
Yep.
or something like that? Okay. So the good news is the storm has shown signs of weakening. It could strengthen back up at any time. So we're not by any means in the clear for the rest of the morning. However, we can kind of breathe a sigh of relief for the moment if we're in southwestern Harris County, northwestern Muskogee County, as this does cross eastward. For now, it's weakening. There's likely no longer a tornado on the ground. You know, there's still a tornado warning in place. So I would stay put if you're in Smith Station for a little bit longer. Things are going to really get better in the next couple minutes for you. Let's just check velocity for the heck of it and see what winds are looking like. Still, you know, no clear-cut areas of rotation, just maybe very broad rotation.
So they were saying they're watching a little area. I could see it better on the radar.
Russell County?
Right here, it's South Russell County. I guess that's technically. Or wait, let's roll down some. They're watching down here.
Hertzboro?
Yeah. I don't see it as much as what they're indicating, but they're still watching it just in case. But
maybe this little core here that's kind of approaching seal, at least just based on the reflectivity there, there might be some stronger updrafts and some stronger hail somewhere near the Sand Fork community, getting ready to cross 431. No warning for you, but it's a nasty storm nonetheless, all on that squall line that we are watching as it treks toward the east and races toward the east. Quite honestly, this is going to be moving through the Columbus area, whatever shape it's in, during the 6 o'clock hour. So here we are, 6:09 Eastern time. We still have a tornado warning for Lee County. Strong storm in Russell County. Doesn't have a warning.
So we just got a special weather statement for the storm. It's moving at 55 miles per hour. So we could see wind gusts up to 40 to 50 miles per hour.
And that's for Harris?
Yes, and North Muskogee.
Okay. So, yeah, northern Muskogee County, southern Harris County.
And Meriwether and it's Meriwether, Harris, Talbot, and Muskogee.
Okay. So that they're kind of, you know, giving some advanced notice there for the storm that's now below severe limits, apparently. But the tornado warning still technically in effect for Lee County?
They just canceled it.
Okay,
so
they just canceled it. That's good because the storm is now moving out and has shown signs of weakening. So let's just get kind of the broad picture here and maybe do a 30-minute radar loop, and then we'll kind of reset and reevaluate things. But you could see the storm as it was back here toward the Society Hill area, Marvin and Beauregard, it was likely producing a possible tornado, or it showed certainly some signs of producing a tornado. As it moved to the east, right over eastern Lee County, it started to weaken. It produced less in the way of rotation. Still some very heavy rainfall, prolific rain moving into the Goat Lake area, western Harris County, all the way up to the 185 corridor. So it's not a fun drive along 185 this morning, but that's not going to last too long. The storm is moving so quick at 50 to 45 miles per hour that it's really going to be out of your hair in any one spot after about 15 or 20 minutes. So yes, it's going to be rough for a little while, but it's not going to be that long lasting. So we have to be ready for at least some maybe 40 mile per hour wind gusts ahead of this line. So why don't we draw a storm track for that to go along with the special weather statement?
You want like just a line, not a storm cone?
Yeah, just to kind of highlight the areas that may be impacted by those 40 mile per hour winds as we go into the next 45 minutes to an hour. And so, you know, gusty winds, heavy rain are a given. So if you live anywhere in northern Harris County, northern Muskogee County, Harris County, Talbot County, and Meriwether County, that's where you should be expecting some gusty winds. Not severe, technically, but it's still going to be pretty noisy. So right over Greater Columbus, Midtown, and Uptown about now. Midland 623, Waverly Hall 629, and Talbotton 645. So while the tornado warning for Lee County, as Allieann said, has expired, and been canceled. The storm still may perk back up later on along this line, so we're not completely out of the woods unless the storm line has kind of passed your area. So let's just give one broad picture of the tornado watch, and we'll wrap things up and go back to regular scheduled programming for a little bit. Of course, we'll have the latest on the news at 7 o'clock. Again, Troup, Chambers County have been discontinued from the tornado watch, but everybody else, probably Lee County any minute now. So I'd
Lee
say
and Macon should.
I'm sorry?
Lee and Macon?
Lee and Macon. Okay, yeah. So Troup, Chambers, Lee, and Macon County, I'd say you're in the clear, but everyone else still technically has a low risk of at least a brief tornado spinning up and some certainly strong storms, heavy rain, and gusty winds. So I'll leave it at that. Allie Ann, are you seeing any other thing that's concerning?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Just still, you know, gusting winds ahead of that line.
Gusty winds ahead of that line, and we'll be watching the storms carefully at the Storm Team 9 Alert Center for meteorologist Tyler Allender and Allie Ann McCord. Thanks for joining us, and stay safe as we watch the squall line moving eastward through the valley.
This has been a severe weather update from your Storm Team 9. We now join our regularly scheduled program already in progress.
Xanthan,